Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second day of Make It Big 2022. I'm Leah Spector, Senior Brand Manager at BigCommerce. We have a really exciting panel lined up for you about cryptocurrency, NFTs, and Web3. Joining me today, we have co-founder and CEO of Try Your Best, Ty Haney. We also have Vice President of Marketing at BitPay, Merrick Theobald. And we have co-founder of Hungry Wolves NFTs and White Sands Metaverse, Adam Hollander. It's such a pleasure having all of you join us today at Make It Big for this discussion. First things first, let's catch everyone up in the audience who may not understand this space. Ty, in basic terms, what is Web3?
Of course. Web3 is the next evolution of the internet. It incorporates decentralization, blockchain, and token-based economies. And blockchain is a credibly neutral platform that powers online communities where anyone can participate and earn. I think what I'm most excited about from a Web3 perspective is this idea of ownership, where users of a product or participants in a brand have aligned stake in the success of that brand over time.
Awesome, thank you. And we'll get a lot more into all of those details, but this next question is for Merrick. What are the basic technologies behind cryptocurrency? How does it work exactly?
Wow, that's a big question, and I'll try to simplify it for everyone. But at the highest level, cryptocurrency is a digital asset that is run on the blockchain and secured by cryptography. So decentralized, which means there is no government or bank associated with it. The blockchain is a public ledger. So think about a giant Excel spreadsheet out there on the internet that anybody at any time can go to and view every transaction. And of course, the first cryptocurrency was Bitcoin, and that started back in 2009. So you have the Bitcoin blockchain. There are other blockchains that came after the Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is probably the most well-known blockchain.
Awesome. Okay, so we've talked Web3, talk crypto, so NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Adam, what exactly are NFTs and how do they play a part in the crypto space?
Sure. So I'll use an example. Let's say that you walk into a museum and you see a beautiful painting that's up on the wall. Now, you could take your phone out and snap a photo of it, or you could go to the gift shop, you could buy a print of it, but it really wouldn't be worth very much. The reason that the painting that's up on the wall is worth what it is because it's the original and you can prove that it's the original. Now, when it comes to digital assets, it's traditionally been very hard to place value on them because they're copyable. You know, you can take a photo or a video or any kind of digital asset and you can copy it on your desktop, you can email it out, you can disseminate it to millions of people, and it's very difficult to prove what is the original asset that was created by the person, the company, the artist, whatever it may be. And that really is what NFTs do. It creates a way of really proving ownership, infallible proof of ownership of a digital asset that is tracked on the blockchain. And as a result, it has impact and implications on a variety of markets in terms of proving ownership of those assets and then using them in a variety of ways, whether it be for membership benefits, whether it be for digital benefits inside of games or a metaverse, or even connections to physical goods.
Awesome. I've heard it likened to NFTs likened to almost like a digital trading card, like baseball trading cards. Is that a good analogy?
Well, collectibles are definitely one market that are going to be significantly impacted by NFTs. And there's a variety of people that are trading them and collecting them in that way. But there are lots and lots of other benefits and implications. For example, if you own an NFT, maybe it's associated with access to a physical event, and you can't actually get into that event without essentially using it as your ticket. Or maybe that NFT grants you the right to purchase certain physical goods that you otherwise wouldn't have the right to purchase otherwise. And so it really can act essentially like a key or a membership card in a lot of ways, which is how a lot of brands are using it to tie into their business models.
Yeah, great segue. So Ty, how are NFTs relevant to e-commerce? Have you seen any great examples?
Definitely. I'll tie back to the previous company that I ran called Outdoor Voices. We had this blue doing things hat that out of kind of the early innings of the brand, you could only get by showing up to an event, an in real life event where you came, did yoga, ran, etc. And then you'd get a blue doing things hat. This was a physical hat that then you'd be on the town lake trail seeing other people with this hat and you high five. We're part of the same community. Well, NFTs allow that blue physical doing things hat to become something digital, live in your wallet, not only be a form of self-expression in the sense that, yes, I'm part of the Outdoor Voices community, but also unlock perks, access to in real life events, like Adam said, access to private shopping pages, early access to an exclusive product, etc. So that's a really nice kind of first example of how NFTs are relevant to commerce. I think ultimately what I'm really excited about is that crypto unlocks a much better business model for brands that are structurally reliant on ad platforms today. And very simply, that means brands and fans, their users, can directly connect on chain, on the blockchain, and pass back and forth NFTs, collectibles that are earned or bought that ultimately unlock really exciting perks. There's a few use cases that we're seeing collectibles being used for in the commerce landscape. One, working capital. So we've seen a few brands use collectibles to essentially sell a physical product, but only the digital version before it comes out. We are also seeing collectibles used to drive conversion. So putting a collectible with purchase next to a product on your shopping site can drive conversion. And then ultimately, collectibles are being used to increase loyalty.
I love that explanation. I actually have one of those blue doing things hats, and I still wear it around town with pride. And I love likening NFTs really to community and building a community space. So more on that to come for sure. It's no secret that the market has experienced a downturn this year. We know crypto and NFTs are volatile. About a year ago, some NFTs were selling for hundreds of millions of dollars, and we've seen those values drop pretty quickly. This is an open question to all panelists. What's a realistic look at how those markets are performing today? And how can businesses be smart about playing in this space?
I'll jump in.
Okay, go ahead, Adam. So I was going to jump in from a payment perspective because BitPay, we process cryptocurrency as a form of payment. So the good news is, this isn't the first crypto winter, spring, whatever we're in right now. There have been others prior. And when we have come out of those crypto winters, Bitcoin especially has always set a new all-time high. So the good news is when we come out of this crypto winter, at some point, Bitcoin should be able to set another all-time high. Previously, it was set at $69,000. So there is good news there. What we are seeing is people are still transacting with cryptocurrency. There's still no better way to transact online than with digital currency, such as cryptocurrency. But we're seeing more people use stable coins when the market is down. And a stable coin isn't as volatile or has any volatility in some cases. So more people are using stable coins like USDC. There's a new coin that came out based off of the Euro coin. So we're seeing transactions are still happening from a crypto payment processing perspective, but more and more people are starting to use stable coins. Traditional cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum are being used, but the average order value for those have gone down a little bit. But when the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin go back up, the average order value should go back up again too.
Yeah, I would just jump in and say that, look, there's a lot of people that speculate inside of these markets. And so they buy the coins, they buy NFTs, not really because of any value or any intent to use them. They buy them because they are speculatively assuming that maybe the price will go up and they'll make money. But whether the price goes up, whether the price goes down, it doesn't change the power of the underlying foundation, the technology itself. And so what it comes down to is that this is still a really incredible way to prove ownership of digital assets. And when you can prove ownership of digital assets, and then you have the connection to brands or products or events or community or otherwise, it's a real opportunity. There's only, take NFTs, about 300,000 people every month that transact on OpenSea, which is the largest market for buying, selling, trading NFTs. And when you think about the billions of people that inevitably might participate in some form of a metaverse as an extension of social media, or of course, the billions of people that transact in traditional commerce, we're right at the forefront of this right now. And so it's an opportunity really for brands or companies or really anyone to innovate and to stand right at the beginning of something that I think a lot of people believe is an inevitability to continue to grow.
I think from a brand perspective, what we're hearing across the board is customer acquisition costs have exploded and everyone's focused on retention, loyalty. How do I keep my existing customer base with me? Look at Starbucks. If you didn't see their Odyssey NFT project, that's a perfect use case and a way to start thinking about how this world applies to consumer brands now. Starbucks launched their NFT project yesterday. Well, the wait list, but it's coming, where customers can earn and purchase digital assets, NFTs, that unlock exclusive experiences and rewards. And so this is a perfect way to start to think about engaging again directly with those most loyal fans and then leveraging them, tapping them to help you grow when the kind of traditional paid performance channels are no longer working or becoming too expensive to be a sustainable way to grow your business.
I love that example. I heard on the car on the way over here, actually, Nike recently made 185 million on NFTs, paid out 90 or so million in royalties to the creators. So much beyond like the market value or looking at NFT as a trading token. I love talking about in terms of access, brand, community, connection, because again, creating community, no matter what the channel, is always going to be what brands should be prioritizing. So excited to look more at those examples as they come onto the market.
Leah, one more just thing to add. I think a way to de-risk kind of toe dipping into this space, particularly for brands, is introducing collectibles or NFTs that are tied to real utility. I think too much of the crypto space or NFT space has been about the expectation that when I buy this NFT, it's going to go up and I can make a fast buck. And that's certainly not happening in most cases right now. Obviously, when the market's strong, there's more kind of versions of that, but collectibles or NFTs tied to real utility perks is really something that we're focused on guiding kind of brands into at TYB.
Absolutely. Again, tying it back to what's the value for the consumer and how to create that community. So we've talked about the basics. We've talked about, the recent market. Let's put it all together, paint a big picture of what this could mean going forward. We keep hearing from crypto communities that it's still really early, right? We're obviously already seeing some of this play out, but what do each of you see as the end game here?
I can jump in. So people are starting to care just as much about their digital identity as they do their physical identity. And so, if you think back, 16, 17 years ago to the rise of social media, people might have said, well, why are you going to spend time on that website, posting pictures or talking to people when you could call them on the phone or, you could go and show them in person. And now this is a huge part of the way that we live our daily lives. It's an inevitability, at least in my opinion, that we are moving towards a digital metaverse where people are going to play and transact and even work and meet and do a variety of different things in a digital landscape. And as a result, they're going to care about their digital identity, and they're going to even have ownership of items or experiences or community access or otherwise inside of these worlds. And NFTs in particular, and crypto, of course, are going to play a very important foundation for that. And a lot of brands today that think about the way that they transact and bring on customers for their physical goods and their physical business might want to start thinking about what kinds of digital experiences or digital goods might they connect to that as more and more people start to even shift some of their focus towards it.
And to continue on from a crypto payment perspective, ultimately one day, I think every merchant online is going to accept cryptocurrency as a form of payment. That's the end game there. I don't think you can go to a merchant today unless they choose to do so, but where credit cards aren't accepted. So I don't know if it's 5 years or 10 years, but at some point, every merchant that transacts online or has a website presence is going to have to accept cryptocurrency as a form of payment. It is working in the physical world, but it works especially well in the digital world. And so one day you'll see every merchant, large or small, accepting cryptocurrency as a form of payment.
Yeah, and we recently launched our consumer report. And although the number of consumers who, or the percentage of consumers who are already shopping with crypto is low, maybe like 5%, those 5% are really passionate about it. And it's 66% of those 5%, it's their preferred payment method. So definitely growing that space. Ty, anything to add here for you?
Yeah, I think ultimately 10 years from now, the next great brands, think Nike, will be community founded, community led, and community owned. In the nearer term, what I very much believe is the future of brand building is two things. It's about co-creation and incentivization. So co-creation being, I'm taking this trusted group of community members, pulling them upstream into product development type processes, giving them the ability to influence the shape of how this brand comes to life over time, plus the incentivization piece, where for their participation, for their contributions, they're starting to earn and own those assets in the form of brand coins that can be redeemed for product, that can be redeemed for access to events, et cetera, or more rare type of collectibles that over time can accrue value. But if I were to deduce it to one thing, I ultimately think what's going to attract people to this space is value creation. So really being able to earn for your participation and contributions is wildly different than the world we're playing in today.
Yeah, I mean, rewards, loyalty, community, these are not new tenants, but all the technology and the possibilities that it's opening up are new. So again, really excited to watch that develop. The more big brands like Nike, Starbucks who enter this space, I think more brands will follow. We are obviously interested in e-commerce here at BigCommerce. This is another open question to all panelists. How do you see Web3 taking hold in online retail?
I'll start. It's all about the wallet, and we know that cookies are coming to an end. The wallet will replace cookies as a unique identifier that's interoperable. So it becomes, on the user side, my essentially one ID that connects me to all the cool shit that I want to participate in or buy, etc. Your wallet becomes the record of purchases, actions, and all of these live on chain. And that's really going to shift kind of the marketing landscape. It also puts more power into me as the user, where I can opt in to, let's say, contribute more of my data for a more specific experience versus the opposite. Today, the centralized behemoths of the world are in control. And so this becomes really, really interesting, where not only am I earning for my contributions, but I have control of what I'm willing to share or not based on the experience that I'm looking to engage with.
Absolutely. And I'll just continue on there from an e-commerce perspective. Wallet is key. And there are a lot of wallets out there today. I mean, depending on who you talk to, there's well over 100 different type of crypto wallets out there. And crypto wallets are unique and different than your traditional payment wallet that you might have on your phone today. BitPay, we have our own wallet, but we are a payment processor first and foremost. So we had to develop our wallet years ago because there were no crypto wallets out there. So, when someone works with BitPay to process a transaction, we support all crypto wallets, and that's the big thing. So regardless of who owns the wallet, who developed the wallet, and there are some other great crypto wallets out there, a payment processor needs to work with all crypto wallets, and they're all special and unique in that way too. So, and by supporting, I mean, they're each one is different and unique. So you actually have to code a little bit differently to support that wallet and the differences in that wallet too. So again, if you don't have a crypto wallet, go out there and get a crypto wallet. Custodial, look up custodial crypto wallet. That's what you want to start with. But as you get more and more comfortable with cryptocurrency and the blockchain, you'll probably want to get something more along the lines of a non-custodial wallet where it's your keys, your crypto, you control everything and no one has access to your wallet but yourself.
Great. Okay, thank you. In that same consumer report I mentioned, it was a collaboration between Profitwell and Google. We saw there was a positive relationship between understanding of things like crypto, NFTs, and Metaverse, and willingness to make real purchases and dabble in the space. No real surprise there, right? This question is for all of you. What other obstacles do you anticipate for adoption other than people just needing to understand the space better?
Yeah, I'll jump in here. So something that I spend a lot of time talking about whenever I'm having these kind of discussions is that it's actually somewhat dangerous to participate in this space right now without a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of theft, there's a lot of hackers in the space, and there's a lot of people that don't really understand how to secure their crypto, how to secure their NFTs and their assets. And they don't have a generalized understanding that if they connect their wallet and sign a transaction on a malicious site, that they might be putting everything that they own in danger. And while that continues to happen, and people read stories in newspapers and the media and otherwise about how dangerous it is to participate in this space, it actually creates a lot of hesitation. And so really educating people on how to engage in this space properly. There's a lot of education today about how you can secure your, otherwise, traditional or normal financial assets, not so much in terms of somebody that might be creating their very first crypto wallet or buying crypto for the first time or buying or trading NFTs for the very first time, and what they need to do and understand and look out for. And I think that's an extremely important thing that needs to happen across the board for us to move from 300,000 people on OpenSea in a given month to 3 million to 30 million that actually start engaging in this space in a meaningful way.
I think it's about simplicity and accessibility. So, for instance, NFT comes with baggage. I think it, in its current state, looks and feels a specific way, which can feel quite maybe bro culture-ish, etc., as well as expensive. And one thing we've really focused on is almost leaning away from kind of the current crypto terminology and obfuscating complexity in terms of an on-ramp into this space via your favorite brand. So one small kind of example is in how we talk about NFTs with TYB and the brands that we support. We've reframed it as collectible. And so we've chosen to use that versus NFTs. And then really the headline kind of concept that we're focused on educating people around, and we believe will drive to more adoption, is this idea of collectible unlocking perks. And so this, perks, rewards, etc., is not something new. So tying this technology to familiar experiences, but doing it more efficiently and with much more fun, where ultimately you have a wallet, you understand the concept of a wallet. I own this, it has value, like that's quite meaningful. I think also building fiat on-ramps. So the ability to use a credit card to buy a collectible is so much more simple than having to get ETH in your wallet, paying, crazy gas fees, etc. So as an example, we launched a brand earlier this year called Joggy. And out of the gates, we sold 500 Joggy Doggy collectibles, which gave you access into the community and a set of perks. We allowed you to do so by using your credit card. We use Stripe as a payment processor. And we found that 92% of people that came in, bought a Joggy Doggy, this was their first NFT. And we had very much simplified that experience. And so simplicity is key, and then accessibility. I also think in a lot of these NFT projects, people that are in the know buy them, the cost goes up, and then they appear very inaccessible to people who don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy an NFT. So the ability to also collect or earn an NFT and it not just being dependent on having a bunch of dollars to buy for it is another kind of key adoption factor.
That's really smart and really, oh, go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to throw in there from a crypto payment processing perspective and merchant adoption. Having no regulation is bad, but having too much regulation is also bad. So we're in kind of this gray area where there is no regulation and there should be some. I mean, we are regulated money services company, so we are following existing laws of the United States and other territories that we work in. But there's nothing specific for cryptocurrency. And I know it's coming. So once we get there, I think that will also help with adoption, both from a consumer perspective, but definitely from a merchant perspective. But again, no regulation is bad, and then too much. So somewhere between no regulation and too much regulation is where we need to be.
We did see the US government talking about the need to regulate crypto a little more. So I'm really interested to see where that goes. Ty, what excites you about the possibilities of what's happening in the space right now?
I think the democratization of wealth creation is super exciting. And we've kind of hit on that in the last few questions. I also love that an NFT or a collectible can give people a strong sense of belonging. I very much believe that there's the metaverse component. So how you present yourself in the online world is equally tied to kind of that in real life presence. And so I'm excited about a future where they both exist, and crypto really becomes a coordinating mechanism for valuable action, where it's not just we're online exclusively, but that in real life piece, only becomes more powerful by crypto as a coordinating mechanism. And then two kind of helpful resources that I'd like to leave with are Squad Wealth and Headless Brands. So if you're a brand builder or in the consumer space, both of those are really interesting articles to click through.
Thank you so much. And what a great case study. You said 90% of your Joggy Doggy buyers that was their first NFT. So I think, like you said, making it more accessible, using language that people understand really clearly, and allowing you to pay with a credit card, that's a game changer. So we definitely need more brands like that getting out there and bringing more people into the space for this to take hold. Merrick, as a representative of a payments brand, BitPay, what do you think merchants need to be looking for in their payment service providers when it comes to crypto?
Well, yeah, so that's a great question because, well, first of all, we've been around for 11 years now. So we were one of the original crypto payment processors, originally just Bitcoin, but as cryptocurrency gained a momentum and more coins came out, we are now up to 15 different coins that we accept today. 6 of those being stable coins, which doesn't have the volatility, but you still get the benefits of the blockchain and digital transaction. So first and foremost, ask about the experience of the company. Is this their primary job, or do they have another job that they're working on as well? BitPay, we're all about crypto payments and crypto payment processing. What is their fee? Generally the fees are going to be about the same range, around 1%, a little more, a little less, depending on your industry, category, or location. But what is the fee? What coins do they support? There are more than 20,000 different cryptocurrencies out there today. Most of them are not needed. I think there's probably only about 15 to 20 that are actually needed to be for crypto acceptance. So what coins are they supported today? What wallets do they support? We talked about that. So more than 100 different cryptocurrency wallets out there. What integrations are they with? So are you using a specific platform today to run your e-commerce site? Is that provider already integrated? Is it an easy thing to turn on for that merchant? And then, look at the brands that they're already working with. If they can share what brands that they're already working with, maybe allow you to reach out to them if you have any concerns. So look at the history, the experience, the support that they provide. So a bunch of different questions that you should ask. Just know that, do your due diligence. There are great providers out there, but they're all different and unique as well too. Another question to ask is, do you want to get settled in fiat, US dollar, or do you want to get settled in crypto? Or a mix of both? So those are some questions that you have to ask. Many large merchants want to get settled in US dollar, don't want to have anything to do with the cryptocurrency. They're not at that level yet. So you have to ask that question as well too.
Adam, you've launched a number of successful NFTs already. What can you tell us about the NFT community?
Sure. That's a pretty loaded question. Most NFT projects, companies today really grow through community. And so, I call it NFT Twitter, but Twitter really is the social platform that the majority of folks that are into NFTs tend to engage. But, when people buy an NFT, they tend to tweet about it, and then hundreds of people will pile on and say, welcome to the community. So happy to have you here. And, some of them are happy because they genuinely want that person in the community. Others are happy because somebody new speculatively bought into the same thing that they speculatively bought into. Some are really excited about the underlying technology and what it represents. What I would generally say is that from a commerce perspective, if you're a company that already has a business and you're thinking about getting into NFTs, the overarching community of folks that are already buying and selling NFTs is relatively small compared to the broader market. I've mentioned several times, even in this event, that there's only a few 100,000 people that are really even buying, selling, trading NFTs regularly today. And so on one hand, it's easier to go after that market because they already have their wallets. They already buy, sell, trade these already. They already understand the value, the utility, the way that it can connect in their digital and real lives. But the real win is figuring out how do you go after the rest of the market. And I agree completely with what Ty said, that there are certain markets today that hear the term NFTs and they really shy away from it because of what they've heard in the media or the bro association or any number of other things. But in reality, some of those markets are the ones that would benefit the most. You take gamers as an example. Gamers today spend hundreds of millions, billions of dollars on microtransactions inside of their games, and they do this because they want access to digital assets that give them utility inside of those environments. And those aren't quote unquote NFTs. They're locked within the four walls of those games. But gamers should be very excited about NFTs because the idea that, you could get a really rare digital item, a sword or a piece of armor, and then instead of it being locked in that game that you no longer play, you can carry it through boundaries into other games, other experiences, into real life experiences. But gamers traditionally today, as a market or a community, if you go on Reddit or otherwise, they're very visibly negative about this concept of NFTs, mostly because they don't really understand what they are. And if they're reframed as collectibles that deliver value, then all of a sudden they light up and they get excited because it's just like the thing that they're already spending money on today, which are these microtransactions. And so I guess what I would say is that you need to know the market that you're addressing. And if you're going after a market that today already buys and sells and trades crypto and NFTs, you can market and talk to them very differently than you might a much broader market, which really is the grail. That's the win that I think a lot of these major brands that are getting into NFTs, Starbucks and Tiffany's and Nike and otherwise, they're not thinking about going after the couple 100,000 people that are at the forefront of this. They want to broaden it out to the rest of the world.
Absolutely. Gamers, music community, those are all really highly applicable in the NFT space. And I would say if you're a consumer who wants to learn more but kind of shy away from maybe some of the more insular communities on Twitter, there are any community you want to look into, there's probably some kind of NFT action going on. So I know there's plenty of like women in NFT groups on Twitter. So definitely look into a space if you're interested. Don't be shy. We have a few questions from the audience from previous panels as well that were related to this topic. Let's focus on the metaverse for a minute. What are your thoughts on accessibility in this space? It's expensive to get a headset right now, or maybe you're differently abled. What does that look like if we're going to see mass adoption in the metaverse? And this is for all panelists.
Well, I've been doing a lot of talking, but I'll jump back in because this is an area that I really focus on. And actually, one of my companies is in and of itself its own metaverse. And so, related to VR, we'll eventually get there. But today, most people, either don't have the funds for, a proper VR setup, or they don't have enough room in their house for a proper VR setup. And so the metaverse is going to take a variety of forms. And so today, you can access metaverse worlds in some cases from your mobile device, in some cases from your computer. And so I think it's going to evolve over time, the way that technology and access into those worlds really evolves over time.
Awesome.
And
Thank you.
I'm very much bullish again on the in real life connections that crypto can facilitate. And so there's certainly, massive growth happening purely in the metaverse world. But again, like where from just a human experience standpoint, don't want to lose sight of this in real life connection. And so I want to call it out because metaverse feels so online, so digital, but the ability to, in our world with TYB, allow people to have one portal into more meaningful relationships, both online and offline, with their favorite brands and friends that also love their brands. That's where the magic happens. I obviously come from building brands in kind of the physical movement space, and I've been able to see kind of the power in having this engaged, passionate community around physical movement together, and the ability to now coordinate and support that both online and offline is a beautiful future in my view.
Well, and building on that, you mentioned VR, but augmented reality and really combining those worlds together so that you can walk through the physical world with a digital layer. And based on where you are, all of a sudden it has connection into your digital assets. I mean, that really is the nirvana of where this eventually will all be headed. It's really limited right now, mostly through battery life and the fact that, you can't have glasses on 24 hours a day without charging them every couple of hours. You had Google Glass a number of years ago that was, really at the forefront of what that might inevitably be. But 10, 15 years from now, maybe sooner, we will have a digital layer on top of your physical layer. And, you might walk by a store and grab a coupon out of thin air to then go walk inside. And the only reason that you saw that coupon was because of your connected digital wallet and digital identity. I mean, it really is a very, very cool, interesting future to hypothesize about.
I love that as well, just in the sense, and we did this in my past where we put AR pop-up shops to release a product, but there were 50 kind of throughout the US, and people had to run, bike, walk, however they wanted to get there. They had to get to a geolocated spot where then the product in this AR world became available. So that becomes a really fun way to play and experience brands combining the two. So I completely agree.
I remember that
Congo.
So cool. And it really gets people, it's still you're outside. It's almost like the Pokemon, right? Like you're outside doing things, but you're tying it into that online world. So I think that's super interesting. And that was years ago that you did that, Ty. So props to you and the company OV. For say you're a B2B company, what are some applications for a B2B company, whether it's maybe a virtual storefront or NFTs, or like, how do you apply that to a different business model? This is for anyone.
Well, I mean, from our perspective, B2B companies are, using cryptocurrency as a form of payment, but they're also using it as a way to transfer money from one entity to a different entity. Again, you could transfer something from Africa to a Swiss bank account in a day, whereas it could take days or weeks with traditional payment systems today. So, if you want to buy something from China and you have to make payment, it could take 10 days. But if you buy something from China and you pay with cryptocurrency, they could ship almost immediately because they're going to receive their funds that day or next business day. So it's faster. The world is faster with cryptocurrency and with blockchain and everything that's coming out.
Awesome. Okay, we have a few audience questions from the chat today. This question comes from Richard. Thank you, Richard, for watching. What are the best learning resources to learn about this topic as a small business?
Again, the big question, we got a bunch of different things going on here, but if you, you can Google accept Bitcoin online and you'll get a bunch of different articles. If you want to read the white paper with Bitcoin, feel free to do that. It's a very interesting white paper around the development of Bitcoin. Of course, you can always go to bitpay.com and we have a bunch of help articles and blog posts there. So if you're a merchant looking about crypto acceptance, that's a great place to go. But there are a lot of help articles online. But I'll let Adam and Ty speak about other Web3 and NFT type help articles or documents.
I would say that we're at such an early stage in this space that there's a tremendous amount of information you can find in different places. And not all of it has motivations behind it that might necessarily be in your best interest. I think the best place to learn right now is to look at what the companies that have already executed strategies in this space have done and how has it worked out for them. And so, you of course have some of the larger examples, Starbucks and Nike and Tiffany's and a number of others that have, built NFT collections, or other major companies that have started accepting crypto in terms of payments and what's gone right and what's gone wrong. But as far as a small business goes, I think what it comes down to is try to find other small businesses that have taken the leap already. And I would actually start reaching out to them directly and say, look, you were right at the forefront of this. What worked, what didn't work for you?
Yeah, I think it's all about more case studies and showing versus telling. That said, I've found Jesse Walden's writing at Variant Fund to be an incredible resource. As well as Chris Dixon at A16Z publishes a bunch in this space, and they both do so very well, making it accessible. And so those are two really nice kind of resources to start with.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, this question is from Nicholas. Thank you, Nicholas. As a business, how do you accept cryptocurrency that's incredibly volatile? That makes sense, right? Like, do your prices have to change all the time? How do you adjust for that?
So one of the reasons that you partner with a company like BitPay, that's what we do. We handle all of the volatility of the cryptocurrency. So in fact, you have no volatility if you're going to get settled in US dollar. You can always get settled in Bitcoin, and then you're responsible for the volatility. But if you want to get settled in fiat, US dollar, euro, pound, or another preferred fiat, we handle the volatility. If it's 100 US dollars, you're going to get 100 US dollars minus the transaction fee, our 1% transaction fee. So you're still going to end up with $99, regardless of what Bitcoin does during the payment processing time. It could go up, which is a benefit to BitPay, but it could go down. And that merchant is still going to receive the funds that they believe they should receive.
Thank you. Okay, we're coming to the end of our time, unfortunately. I think we could talk about this for hours. As advocates and stewards of this frontier, each of you has influence on where we go from here. What are some parting words you have for our e-commerce interested audience about what the future holds?
Well, I'll jump in from again, a crypto payment processing perspective. Really, there is really no reason not to accept cryptocurrency as a form of payment. It's lower fees than traditional payment methods. I don't know if everyone realizes this, but there are no fraud chargebacks with a crypto payment on the blockchain, essentially because it's a push payment. There is no ability to do a chargeback. So if you're a merchant and you're dealing with a lot of chargebacks, you absolutely should consider crypto payments as a form of payment method. It's one of the best payment methods if you do cross-border or you're doing global transactions. Again, you're getting access to more than 300 million different wallet holders around the world. 300 million different wallet holders around the world, more than 100 different wallet types. And I think today's value of the market cap for total cryptocurrency is over 1 trillion still. So $1 trillion in total crypto market cap that you get access to. So fast settlement can be as easy or fast as next business day. You don't deal with the volatility of cryptocurrency. More than 220 countries and territories around the world recognize it as a form of payment. So there really isn't a reason why not to accept cryptocurrency as a form of payment.
Yeah, I would say from an NFT perspective, as you really look at commerce, don't do this just for the sake of it. Don't create an NFT collection just because that's what's expected of brands right now and lots of people are doing it and you want to pile on the bandwagon. What you want to do is really ask yourself, what do our customers really want? What kind of utility can we create? What kind of community can we give them access to? And how do we connect that with our existing business, physical products, digital products, or otherwise? And so if you can get people excited about the idea that there's going to be certain things that they can gain access to, or certain products that they can buy, or information that's going to get disseminated to them, or communities that they can access that they wouldn't be able to otherwise, and you can give them proof of ownership in that sense, then that's really exciting. And then you can be one of the brands that really is at the forefront of all this. And I think you'll be looked back on as an innovator. And so I think that's probably where I would leave you in terms of my overarching advice.
I think teamwork as a mindset and way of building is a really exciting future. If you think of the Chicago Bulls, it's not just one person, it's Michael Jordan, it's Rodman, and what this technology allows for is making your fans an extension of the team. And so that becomes really cool, where success can be achieved as a collective, and anyone who participates early and often can have something to show for it at the end of the day.
Awesome. Ty, Merrick, Adam, thank you so much for that insightful conversation. I think we all learned a lot about how we might see this space grow. Be sure to check out more Make It Big sessions and share what you've learned on social media. Tag us at BigCommerce and hashtag MakeItBigCom. Thanks for watching.